Unless you were paying close attention, you drove right past it. The old adobe caretaker's house on the east end of Hart Park might have been mistaken for what it was, a semi-abandoned shack.
But as 17's Robert Price explains in another installment of his ongoing series of the people and places of this city where we live, that will soon no longer be the case for this historic landmark.
In 1939, millions of Americans and thousands of Kern County residents were out of work. To the rescue came President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who used this Kern River dirt, or adobe, to build this, the caretaker's building for Hart Park. Today, it's taking on a new life. The Works Progress Administration, launched in 1935, was one of the programs FDR started to put people to work during the Great Depression. The WPA built structures across the country and across the county. The Hart Park Caretaker's residence has served several purposes over the years, but after more than a decade of disuse, there was talk of demolishing it. That talk ended when County Supervisor Mike Maggard teamed up with Bill Cooper of the Kern River Parkway and others to develop funding and a plan to preserve the 1,100 square foot structure. But not just preserve it, restore it under the very specific set of guidelines required for inclusion on the State Historic Registry and potentially the National Historic Registry. The plan, turn it into the Kern River Parkway's Education Center, where visitors can learn about the riparian habitat of the Kern River, the region's prehistoric past, and the 85-year-old building itself. Jeff Hill of the county's General Services Department said the $1.2 million project went through some challenging hoops.
When we took the approach to do the improvements of the building from a structural standpoint as well as from an aesthetic or cosmetic standpoint, architectural standpoint, we had to maintain fidelity to the original construction.
How meticulous was the undertaking? They ground up the building's literal bones. The workers took these adobe bricks, carved them down into mortar to help finish this building.
That thing was 200 mesh sieve, and just ground it through the sieve and turned it back into powder.
Now that's authenticity. Restoring the floors was another matter. The wood had been sanded so many times, there wasn't enough left to sand anymore.
We had to source and purchase old growth Douglas fir material. First of all, we had to find it, then we had to purchase it and bring it in. It matches exactly the flooring that was there.
They found it at a mill in Oregon, and it wasn't cheap, $22,000. Thank goodness for local labor. Stephen Montgomery of the city's Historical Commission is cleaning and restoring the house's old doorknobs and assorted hinges by hand. It's truly a community effort with too many contributors to name here. The quarter-acre out back will get a facelift too. It'll become a garden of drought-tolerant vegetation. While the adobe will be a tribute to the past, the backyard will be a nod to California's dry future. One of the few things not changing at all, the Hart Park peacocks.
They've been a fixture in this park since, I think in the 40s, there was a zoo here, and they've just never left.
The peacocks are invited to the grand opening, and so are you. The date is not set for sure, but coming this month in May, the Kern River Parkway's Nature Center, right here in Hart Park. Robert Price, 17 News.
Love that interesting, story. And I had never noticed that building before, like a lot of people.
It's easy to miss, but a victory for history where we live. All right. One entertainer says it's the beginning of the end of comedy as we know it today.